So my video froze up for some reason as I was asking the important question. Why are employers, what are they looking for? Why would they pay somebody with a college degree more than somebody without one? Pretty sure the reason would be they're going to do that because that person is more productive, right? Okay, so that makes sense that if a worker is more productive, I would be willing to pay them more, or you would be willing to pay them more. And so in order for going to college to make sense, it has to make you more productive in a way that employers value. I'm pretty sure this causal link is true. I think we don't have to go collect a bunch of data on this. I'm pretty sure that if you talk to most employers, they're pretty clear on what they're looking for. The real puzzle now, again, if I had a larger board, I wouldn't have to erase this. But now the question is, how or why or does college make you more productive? Because again, if this link isn't there, then being more productive might get you all that stuff down there at the right-hand side of the board, but college isn't relevant for that. So, how does college make you more productive? It's a tough question. It's an important question. Now I have some thoughts on this. So, it's not again, is it a magic wand? We just wave this college wand and people are suddenly more productive? I don't think so. The question would be, what does college do that makes you more productive? Well, as we talked about earlier, maybe it gives you a bunch of job-specific information. Is that true? So again, one of the things I think I did some back of the envelope calculations. I think it would, 2 years at City College ends up costing, all told, the cost is maybe half, right? And you get a little bit more in earnings from an MSUB university degree versus the City College degree, part of the same system. But, do you get more job-specific information with a 4-year degree than the 2-year degree? The answer is no. You actually don't. The extra 2 years are taking gen ed courses. Wait, gen ed courses. These are not job-specific information. Actually, it turns out, by the way, scary thought, you're going to use almost none of this job-specific information that we teach you on the job. Employers typically, they train you. Now there's some things, so I'd say job-specific information, that's definitely not the issue. Maybe part of it might be, are you able to navigate word processing programs? Are you able to navigate Excel and computers? Having an ability to do that, if you have that, then they can train you in the job or company specific pieces. But if you can't figure out how to navigate some of these things, yeah, okay. So that's one that is probably worth paying people a little bit more. What else? Well, they almost certainly value soft skills, sort of the plays well with others component. Public speaking, right? Speaking, writing, etc. That's true. Yep. What else? Well, one of the big pieces here, sort of, are you diligent? When I grew up on a cattle ranch in southeastern Montana, and one of the things that was inculcated in me from an early age was, after you finish a task, don't just sit down or wander off, go ask, what should I be doing next? And maybe even anticipate and think about that. That said, it was really hard to find good hired help. That's why they had kids, at least in part. It was because they needed labor, right? Intelligent labor, or maybe not necessarily intelligent, but diligent labor that could be relied on to to do their task, to do it as well as they could, and to think about possible problems that are coming. Do you think employers would be willing to pay for that? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Things like punctual and so forth. A big piece, and this is another one here, would be, how about, do you think an employer would be willing to pay somebody who could look at a situation that they hadn't seen before? They didn't know anything about this situation, and could maybe start to figure out what some important questions are, to start to come up with better answers in a brand new situation, to bring in various things from places that they'd seen, to start making some connections. Yeah, those are the higher level jobs, and it's very hard to train people in that, to start saying, ooh, you know, I didn't think that I knew much about this, but I know something about this other thing over here, right? To be able to port things, to be able to solve problems. I'm going to put all of those here under analytic thinking. And again, this is what I think, this is the big piece that we're teaching here. Now, here we have the question. So, would be, now again, if we were in person together, we could have a discussion here about all this stuff, and maybe you'd come up with some things I hadn't thought about, or we could have a discussion and clarify some things. That's going to have to happen via a different format, right? So that leaves us here with, it must be, the only way it's going to really make sense to be in college is if college, let's do this, college classes improve these things. And so now the question is, do they? That's something you're going to have to figure out. Do your classes do these things? Give you something to think about in terms of which classes do that the most. Now, let's think about, so now the question would be this link. Does this hold? If this link doesn't hold, if college classes don't do these things, then this is going to break. Well, actually, this, yeah, all of this link will still be true, but this link doesn't hold, and then all of that stuff down at the right-hand side of the board, you're not going to get it. You're going to be getting all of the costs and functionally none of the benefits of going to college. And at that point, college probably doesn't actually make sense. So now we have the question of what do I need to do for these things to work, and what do you need to do in order, right? What are our responsibilities? This is analytic thinking at work here. So obviously, just as a baseline, yes, you're using a computer right now or some other platform like that. You're going to have to figure out how to navigate various software programs, whether it's D2L or some other platform, as well as being able to word process, being able to variety of things. So that one, I think that's just a part of modern life. But yeah, we should ask that. Now let's think here. Public speaking, again, now we have the question of online versus on-site. Turns out most of these soft skills, it's going to be pretty hard for me to tap into them. In my on-site classes, everybody ends up in front of the class to work through problems at various times. Many people hate that, but they learn to do it because that's an important thing, to learn to speak in front of a group off the cuff, right? To be able to express yourself. Writing, yeah, I'm going to probably try and require some of those things, right? I'll play with some different things. We'll have to figure out what works the best. I think, yeah, there'll be specifics in the syllabus, or there are specifics in the syllabus about that. Again, that'll be your reference, and on D2L. And then there'll be some other assignments that I put in here. So writing, yep. So I'm going to ask you to write, and I'm going to correct your grammar and your spelling, and I'm going to ask you to do the same. Now, I'm not going to take points off if I understand what you're saying, but I think it's important for you to see things marked up. Now again, online, that makes it significantly harder to do that effectively. I have to figure out the best way to make that happen. So, but again, classes don't have you speak or write. what's happening? You are losing a major part of the value of college to the point where it may not actually make sense, right? Okay. Now these are a little bit harder, diligent and punctual. Part of the question would be, what do I have to do in order for those to work? So let's see here. What am I going to have to do? And this, of course, we can start with my responsibilities because that's probably not a bad place to start. That's probably where your brain is sitting, and we can circle back around to figure out what your responsibilities are. Well, one of the things that you're going to discover is I don't accept late assignments. Why? Not because I hate you, but because, again, I think this is the chance during college is the chance to make a lot of mistakes when the costs are relatively low and to learn from them. So, late homework, late assignments, late exams, nope, no credit. I'll happy to give you feedback, but I won't be giving you credit. And again, that's because I think that's an important part of making you more productive. That's what you're paying me for, is for you to get this stuff here, thus justifying the cost of going to college. I had one student who showed up an hour and 50 minutes late for the final exam. I said, well, we'll see you next semester. Oh, that's terrible. Well, I'm pretty sure that they learned the lesson, right? I mean, this is what I've done. It was one of the first time I missed a train or a bus or something. Boy, that was really worrying, but it wasn't a job. It wasn't a major, in the big scheme of things, it wasn't a major cost, right? Being diligent. Now, that's something that, as I mentioned in the introduction video, you're going to have to do a lot of vetting of your knowledge. You're going to have to be proactive. You're going to have to be an active learner, right? Because I can't do much for that, right? I can require you to write. I can, well, yeah, writing, right? But I can't do a lot with figuring out where you're at. You're going to have to be proactive. I'm going to give you assignments, but I'm not going to give you nearly as many assignments as you need to learn and master the material. That's up to you. So students. Well, let's see. One of these here might be do the work, right? Ask questions. Be curious. Now, I would say that you may not care about economics. You may not care about this class or any of your classes. I would say at least try it on, because I have discovered that being curious about the world is a far more interesting life to live. Not being curious, it's pretty dull. So be curious, ask questions, ask for help, look through the various, ask your colleagues, maybe form some study groups. They don't have to be in-person study groups. Maybe some of you are close enough to somebody else that you can actually do some of that. But again, I can't do a lot about this except for, again, my hands are much more tied in this format. Analytic thinking, what else do I need to do? Oh, wait, something else I need to do for this to work, right? Show up. Now, in on-site classes, that means showing up in person. And one of the things I've always been interested in is students' reaction when faculty members cancel classes. What's the usual reaction? Yay! What should the actual reaction be? Once we think about college causing this, which is what you need to be getting those goodies down there at the right-hand side of the board, should be pretty ticked off. That's in effect faculty members stealing from you, taking your future away from you that you are sacrificing and paying for. So yeah, show up. Now in this format, it's going to be a little different. Show up, be prepared, right? That's why I'm recording all these lectures. I'm hopeful that that is a way of helping you understand a way of thinking. This is about mastering a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at the world. I'll do my best, right? But again, there's going to be some of this that you're going to have to take on over here. Analytic thinking. Oh, here's the rub, right? What do I need to do to reinforce your analytic thinking? Oftentimes people talk about, right, we could talk about this. Should I give you multiple choice exams? Should I give you exams that are automatically graded by the system? Is that going to help your analytic thinking? Probably not. That'll mainly help you learn how to take tests. And that's not a very useful life skill outside of college. Oftentimes you'll hear people talk about open-ended questions, right? Where there maybe isn't a right answer. That's actually what I focus on. Where there isn't a right answer. You say, what the heck? How could you give me an exam where there isn't a right answer? Well, we're going to be living this term in the realm of better and worse questions, not right and wrong, or better and worse answers, right? And maybe even better and worse questions. Sometimes we start there and we say, maybe that's not the best question we could be asking. Maybe we should be asking a different question. Now, this may seem intimidating, and it should, because it's hard. Looking at the world in a new way and mastering exams where there aren't right answers is probably a little intimidating. Again, I think it's pretty important, and we'll fill in the details there as we go along. But yeah, what I'm trying to assess in this class is the quality of your thinking, not the quality of your answers. And so one of the things you can do is tell me what your thinking is. So you might say, well, A to B to C, right? Thinking through some problem. A goes to B, goes to C, goes to W. Well, there's this last link here, for those of you who know the alphabet, is a little troubling. It's not quite right. It's a little off. But I would actually much rather have this than you just give me this answer there. If you gave me D, I actually don't know if you just stumbled across that at random, or maybe you actually went A to W to X to D. Well, I'd say this is better than this, but clearly this here is better than just giving me this answer. I've oftentimes threatened to cut off the bottom, inch of exams when I give them in person, and just look at the piece above, because that might force students to tell me what their thinking is. So hopefully that fills in some of this. Now, obviously this isn't definitive, but the key, what I wanted to talk about is maybe sort of set some expectations. Again, I've found there's upsides to online education. I mean, some of you are place-bound. You can't make it to campus, right? It's a better option for you than what we used to have, which was correspondence classes. My mom took a correspondence class when we were living in Powderville. She got some, professors would send her materials. She would read through them, write stuff, send it back. They would give her comments, and back and forth, right? Correspondence courses were a thing, and they served a valuable purpose. But we understood there were some real limitations for them. Most people said, yeah, it's hard to get that done without the structure. So that's one of the other things here, is I'll try and provide you with structure in this, in structure with thinking about this, in structure with assignments. Yeah. So, but part of this, I hope one of the things you take away is, first of all, that analytic thinking is important, right? It starts to help us drill down, and you start to say, you know what, maybe my professors giving me extra credit and accepting late assignments is actually destructive rather than a good thing. Maybe it's not them being kind to me. Maybe it's actually them being irresponsible. Maybe not, right? But it actually, professors canceling classes. Ooh, that's not right. That's theft. Yes, it is. Or at least That's one way to look at it, right? But I will try and push you this term, not because I necessarily, right? It's not because I want to watch you suffer or I'm a despot. It's because I really do think that when we examine this, you are giving up a huge amount in order to get this stuff down here, which is normally on the right-hand side of the board, and now at the bottom of the board here. And if we don't do these things, if you don't do these things, or if I don't do these things, that link is going to break. And then it won't make sense for you to be in college. So both an exposition or application of analytic thinking in practice, we're going to be doing a whole lot more of that throughout this term. Next thing we're going to be doing here is starting to dig into what economics is.